Welcome to the Inspired by Jacqueline podcast, a refreshing place for women struggling with entrepreneurship, faith, or infertility. Stay tuned for today's episode. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Inspired by Jacqueline. OMG. Today is my favorite conversation, networking, building relationships. When I connected with this particular guest, I was like, oh yeah, no, you need to be a part of this podcast because I truly love the conversation and we are just so on the same page. So let me give you a little bit about her. Her name is Alexandra Silva Labarr. Did I say that correctly?
Perfect.
She is widely known as the networking queen, and she has a profound passion for motivating people to excel within their industries. She has 20 years of experience in marketing and business development. She excels in fostering growth through powerful relationships, and she is the CEO and founder of, I hope I don't butcher this, Xandra Marketing, and the author of The Power of Networking. Did I butcher your business name or?
Fine. Yeah. So they say Alexandra. I say Alexandra, but we do because of the X. I know English term, they would go with you said Zan, right? Z, you make it a Z.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And the last piece that I'm going to share, and then I'm going to welcome her to share a few words on this, is usually for those who have been following me and listen in and tune in, you know that I asked this amazing question as to what is someone's superpowers, but she has this in her bio. I was like, wait a minute, we need to share this one first. So here is what she has, and then I'll open it up for her to elaborate on it. My superpower is simplifying things that appear complicated. All right, so elaborate on that and share a little bit more on your bio.
Sure. No, I think you covered everything. Thank you so much for having me on. Oh my gosh. I feel the same. When we first connected, I was like, oh my gosh, she's amazing. And we just needed to connect. And that's what it's all about, the power of networking. So yeah, simplifying things that appear complicated. I feel that in life, we sometimes complicate things and we're kind of in our own way. But
Oh,
if
yeah.
we just stop and look at it in a different way, right? Two people can look at the same window and see something completely different. So I think my superpower is to sit with the person and say, listen, are you sure that's what you're seeing? So yeah, and even with the networking part of it, we make it so complicated. And when I wrote the book, The Power of Networking, I simplify things. I literally just put the meat in there. It's 104 pages, easy read. Took the 20 years and just, I said, there's nobody got time to read, right? These days. So let me simplify this for everybody. So it just is an easy read. You can knock it out in a day. So yeah, that's my
Wow,
superpower.
that is awesome. Well, I'm really excited to start this conversation. But before we go into the nitty gritty of networking and all that stuff, how do you start your mornings?
Oh my God, I love this question. So I am the type of person that I give into myself, or I give to myself first before I can give to the world. And what I mean by that is I like to sit with myself and have an ongoing meeting. It's in my calendar every single day. I meet with myself in the morning. I'm never late. I'm always on time. And I just sit there and I really take a temperature on how do I feel? Checking
Mhm.
in, that mental health piece of it. And how do I feel? I look at my schedule and see, like, am I mentally okay to tackle my responsibilities for the day? And then if I'm not, at least I'm aware of it and I give myself some grace. But then I come up with a game plan mentally and say,
Mhm.
okay, I may not show up 100%, but girlfriend, you're going to show up 90% and it's okay. But I'm
Mhm.
prepared versus getting up and just rushing through life and rushing through all these things that we have to do and not really understanding, like, how are you showing up? So I start my day with my meeting. I kind of review what the day looks like. What are some hard conversations that I need to have that day? And then, like I said, just check in with myself. And after that, I go to the gym. I'm big into health because I believe that health is wealth. None of this, and that really matters if we're not healthy,
Mhm.
right? So I love working out. I've been working out since my early 20s. And then I go for my walk. Then I come home, shower, get ready, and get started.
And you're ready.
Know what my days are. So I'm checking the boxes off of just the spiritual, physical, and emotional part of who I am. So I've been doing that for a long time. And when I speak on stages, I make sure, especially if women are my audience, I just encourage them to really start their day with themselves, because you are the most important meeting of the day.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. And like you said, I love that you say you check off the boxes of spiritual, mental, and physical because it's so important. And for women especially, and we speak more on the women's side because this is who we are, this is what we know. We're so prone to want to do certain things right away, while sometimes we forget about us.
Yeah.
And so I love that you schedule it because it's really important. Now, when you say schedule, do you put a notification alarm or do you need that extra push that you need the alarm or you just know?
Well, it's blocked, right? So if you try to schedule a meeting with me within those windows, I'm not available. So I
Nice.
block it as a meeting. We are so quick to show up for meetings all day
Yeah,
for everybody else, but then we forget about that important meeting. So I put it in my calendar and it's on repeat every day. And it's there, it's that window, and it's non-negotiable. It's my
I
time.
love it.
That's just what I do.
I love it, love it. I love you added non-negotiable because that's very important. And knowing exactly what non-negotiable means to you,
Mhm, mhm.
right? And so with that, we're going to start into the networking. And before that, before I ask you a question, I want to share with everyone that we just recently met at a networking event in Miami. And then we followed up with a call. And for me, the conversation with you was even like a bonus for me. The follow up is just as important as the conversation you're having the day of. So, what is the definition, the dictionary definition of networking, and what is your definition of networking?
Awesome. So I'm going to read the definition from
Yep.
dictionary. It's the exchange of information or service among individuals, groups, and institutions. So specifically to cultivate or productive relationships of employment or business. So it's really saying
Mhm.
that you network because obviously you need business, and then you, just in case you need a job, you network to connect with others. For me, I believe that's a piece of it. However, I feel that networking, there's so many layers. And
Mm,
that is why the book, The Power of Networking, is so important, because I wanted to change that narrative of just thinking that networking is about going to networking events and exchanging business cards. So to me, it's more about connections. It's about
mhm,
quality over quantity. It's about building
mm,
alliances, a community, and collaboration. It's forming your team in a sense, of alliance of entrepreneurs who, or anyone, business people that can help you if you ever need resources, because you're really one person away from
mhm.
either them changing your life or adding an incredible contact into your network. So there's so many layers to networking, and follow up is another word. That's
Yeah.
such an important piece of networking, and most people fail at networking because they don't follow up or follow
Mhm.
through. So
Yeah.
in my book, I talk about the 3-day rule, because I think sometimes not only do you not follow up, but I think we sometimes follow up too quickly,
Mhm.
sound too desperate. So I always like to say 3-day rule, 1 to 3 days, do a little research on that person that you met. How do you continue the conversation? So you're going to spend more time with people versus looking around the room to see, who am I going to speak to next? It's really spending time with that person. So perfect example, us, right? So had I
Mhm.
not, or you and I not connect, I wouldn't be on your podcast right now. So
Yeah.
the magic there, right?
And so I love that you were able to clarify that because your definition is really how I see networking. And I think and I love that you created and you wrote a book to simplify what it means, to clarify what it means, because there's still that struggle between that dictionary definition and what it should really mean. I love that you shared the quality versus quantity, because that's where sometimes people are struggling and sometimes they overdo it instead of focusing on that one-to-one relationship and say, okay, what is my focus, first of all, for being here?
Mhm.
Because it's an investment. Your time is an investment. So, what is it that you're really there for? Are you just there for just leads and making money without building the relationship, without getting to know the person? For me, my first networking event, it was packed. It was like you were squeezing through people. It was my first networking experience. And I was like, how am I going to speak to everyone here? First of all, there's loud noise and the sound, the music, everything. And I'm like, am I connecting with anyone here? Or how
How
does
did
this happen? How do I connect the dots? And
right.
I took my partner who is really great with networking, and he's like, you don't need to connect with everyone. Just
Yeah.
like you said, it's just see who you connect with and just one person at a time. So I really appreciate that you share that. Now, do you recall the first time you went to a networking event and that experience? How was it for you?
So I call myself that energy bunny or rabbit, whatever you want to call, energizer. So when I first started networking, I was working for a corporation. I was their business development marketing, regional marketing person. So they told me, go network. This job requires you to go network. And when you go to a networking event, make sure you bring a lot of business cards, but make sure you also grab a lot of business cards. Bring back home a lot of business cards. So I'm like, this is easy. I can do it. So I'm this little energy or energized rabbit, whatever you want to call it, going through these networking events. And I would just walk in and just start talking to everyone, collecting business cards, handing out my business cards to everyone. And then I would go back to the office and I would tell my manager, I'm like, look at all these business cards. And they were excited. They were so excited because I kept bringing these business cards back and they would just kind of pile up on my desk. And I would go back, rinse and repeat. And then one day I realized, I thought to myself, I said, you know, I keep going out there and I'm meeting a lot of people, but I'm not even getting any business. Like no one's like even using my services. Why is the company so excited for what I'm doing? And then I said, I don't know if this is okay. I didn't feel too good, right? I'm like, I just feel like there was another step. So that's my first time, like literally just kind of being in that space of like, that's my job is to network.
Mhm.
But then as I started kind of just looking at networking a little different because I naturally am a connector.
Mhm.
I love to have conversations with people, and I was missing that about me. So naturally, they kind of said, don't do. So I went
Mhm.
back to being me. So I went to my first, I would say, networking event, walked into the room. It was Commercial Real Estate for Women, it's an organization called Crew. So shout out to Crew for anyone that's listening. I've been on the board forever, and I was a past president here in Boca Raton and West Palm Beach. But I went to the networking event and I went right to the president and I was like, "Hi, my name is Alex, and I'm new to the industry. Would love to connect with the members, and I would love to get on a committee." So it happened that she just had a position available for me, and I talk about this in my book. And she's like, wow, oh my gosh, she just loved my energy. She's like, actually, a programs chair. Now, I've never been on any board. And I'm like, what is this? What I just get myself into? So I'm scared, right? So long story short, I ended up getting on the board. And I think it's like 18 years later of just
Oh,
being
wow.
real estate for women. So my first time was scary, but at the same time, I just showed up as myself and just introduced myself to everybody. And it ended up working out for me. So
Wow.
the
And
scary
so, going back to that pile of business cards, was there a method or an understanding that when you went back, did you recall each one and speaking to each one?
no. So that's a great question. And that is a joke that I make because I'm like, my office was full of business cards, and they
Yeah.
just was there. There was no like process of like a CRM that they had like a next step of what do you do? So again, changing that narrative about networking. They
Mhm.
just felt like as long as I'm out there handing out business cards and collecting business cards, they're good. And guess what? To this day, I've met so many entrepreneurs and businesses that do the same. Again,
Mm.
it's so important. Well, you can network all you want, but if you don't have a system in place to follow up with the people that you're meeting, then why are you wasting your time networking?
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and a lot of people stop networking or don't see how networking is important because they don't have a system. See, if you have a system in place and you're doing the work, you're following up, then you're going to want to network more because now you're getting your ROI. Like you said, time is money,
Mhm.
right? Your time is
Yep.
valuable.
I
So
agree.
yeah, those business cards are great. And even like if you read my book, you'll know that I don't believe in handing out business cards.
Mhm.
You're supposed to ask for a business card, and people walk up to you with their business card in their hand, and it just kind of like put it right in your face, and you're thinking, "Hello, could we? How do you even know I want your business card? Can we have
Yeah.
a conversation?" And it's just one of
Yep.
those like networking one-on-ones. Like you don't do that, and so many people
Yeah.
do that, and you just kind of grab it because you have no choice. It's in your face, but that's not the proper way to do it. You have a conversation. You're not there to really exchange business card. You're there to connect and see if
Yeah.
you have anything in common, and build rapport and see what the relationship
Yeah.
where go.
And I'm glad you shared that because the last, I would say, few years, I purposely don't take business cards in my bag on purpose. And when people ask, "Oh, here's my business card. Can I have yours?" I take it as an opportunity to have a conversation.
Absolutely.
And then you can tell who really just wanted to get your business card and that's it, didn't really want to have a conversation. And then those who do stay and have a conversation. And going back to the question that I had asked you as to the process,
Mhm.
one thing that I did learn from one of the conference I went to, one of the speakers had shared something about networking that it was the one thing about networking that actually stood out. And I still do it. So what they shared was that when you receive a business card and you feel that that's someone you want to follow up with, like truly on the top of your list, you either do a little fold in the corner or you take a pen and you put a little dot, or you, if you don't have either or whatever, and you want to do something quick, if you have two pockets or you have a pocketbook and a pocket, you put the one that you want to communicate with immediately in your pocketbook, in your favorite pocket, or whatever you choose, right? And you are able to say, okay, I got back. These are the people I want to communicate with
Right.
first. And I kind of started doing that. And then when I stopped doing the business cards, right, I was like, okay, how do I do this now? Now I say, okay, what's your Instagram account? Then I screenshot. So there's always something. And it's really a great tool that I felt connected with because as you're networking, you want to stay in that mood of this was a great conversation. And
Right.
because there's so many things happening when you go to a networking event, right? And so I'm glad that you shared that information.
Preparation is key. You have to be prepared before you go to a network, and that's another piece where people are not prepared. And you should know where you're going. What is this event about? What elevator pitch are you going to use? Because we have several. And then, like, what's my goal here? So,
Yeah.
always being prepared. For me, I like to kind of do the same where I use my phone. I leave like voice message, or I'll go to my notes and I'll say, Alex, make sure you call this person on Monday, name of the company. So when I come back, I have like notes because you should be taking notes while you're
Yes.
working. You're there for business. You got to be organized, and it's
Yeah.
all about when you get back. What are you going to do? How are you going to continue that conversation? And you want to sound professional. You
Yeah.
remember maybe something they said that you
Exactly.
write in your notes so you can email them and it's not generic. It's more of
Yeah.
a
Exactly.
conversation where they're going to respond.
I agree. And so, what would your recommendation be as far as if I approach you and I say, oh, I need help networking, but I want to network just to get leads? What would your response be to something like that?
I would say networking is not about that. I would say I would recommend you use the word service. When I
Mm,
network, I lead with serving, right? So it's not about you, it's how can you help. So kind of switching your mindset a little bit on what the purpose of networking. Yes, ultimately we want to get leads and it will come when you head out and you're having conversations. It should be, how can you serve? And
mm,
ask questions. So I would first change their mindset about networking and how they're showing up, because when you do show up wanting leads, it's part of your brand. So the way you walk
mm.
into a room, people are going to see that you're hungry for business versus there to make relationships. And people
Yeah.
usually shy away from people like that.
And is there a difference between how you network as an entrepreneur versus as a corporate employee?
Absolutely. And it's a little different, but at the same time, it's the same. Meaning different because when you have a big company backing you and you're showing up in a room, people look at you a little different. So
Hmm.
you have that leverage in a sense. You walk in a little different. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, you're a smaller business, and maybe they don't know who you are, you want to create community. You want
Hmm.
to build relationships. Don't make it about you. Connect with others. The same kind of conversation we've been having from the beginning.
Hmm.
It's just a little different. You have to look to build your community of people. And that is how I've thrived. See, 5 years ago, when I opened up my business, Alexandra Marketing, the reason why I wanted to do it is because I knew how my network was so strong.
Mm.
Done the work, I planted the seeds, and they came out to help me. I opened up my business within like 3, 4 months, COVID happened.
Wow.
Okay. So we're going on 5 years, right? So COVID happened, and I was like, holy cow, I just left corporate America to go bet on myself.
Wow.
And look what happened. I pivot, and my networking alliances, my friends, the people that were advocating for me, all came out to help me. So as an
Mm.
entrepreneur, you got to find your tribe, the
Yes.
people that are going to kind of advocate for you and be those super connectors and say, okay, let me send this email on behalf of Alex,
Mhm.
put their reputation on the line for you. So that to me is a true connector, a true super connector. So yeah, it's a little different when you're working for yourself. You got to go out there just planting those seeds, and it takes time.
Mm.
People want networking to happen overnight, and it doesn't. And I always ask them. I said, okay, when you first met your husband or your boyfriend, did you instantly connect? Absolutely not. And if you did, you go, girlfriend, send me,
Yeah.
let me know how you did it, because it takes a little time to connect. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing as building relationship. Again, humans are humans. It takes time. You're gonna date a little bit. You're gonna
Mhm.
understand each other. Then you move to the next level. And that's what, when you meet someone, have that in mind. How do I
Yeah.
connect with them? Let me learn about them. Let's find common ground. When I met you, I'm like, I knew you're from Puerto Rico. I grew up around in Connecticut. So right away,
Yep.
I felt comfortable with you because I was like, oh my God, I grew up in Connecticut, and all my friends are Puerto Rican. My mom spoke Spanish fluently. When I woke up, on a Saturday morning, we're dancing to my name.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up around. So you made me feel like comfortable. And that's what people do when they're out there
Mhm.
networking. What is the common ground? Build that relationship. Ask questions, because you're not going to know where you're from if you don't ask. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. No, that is so true. And I'm glad that you kind of made that reference, how you enter a room as a corporate, employee, let's say, versus as an entrepreneur. It's the same concept at the end of the day, but how you enter is differently. And for the entrepreneur, you're basically entering, it's you, your face, your brand. So let's talk about personal branding, because that is like the part that helps you enter with confidence. So tell me how personal brand is helpful for when you are going to networking events.
Absolutely. So your personal brand is not the name of your company. It is not your logo.
Hmm.
Your brand is who you are, how you show up, how you answer an email, how you pick up the phone. If you're going to be late to a meeting, how you just show up dressed. I mean, everything is your personal brand, how responsive you are. So people associate that with who you are. So I always tell people, what do you want people to say about you when you're not in a room? Write it down
Hmm.
and then show up as that person every single time, because that is what they're going to remember. So if they're looking for a service, they're not going to even remember the name of your company most time, but they're going to say, oh, let me call Alex because I know she's going to answer her phone because that's my brand. I'm going to answer the phone.
Exactly.
I'm going to respond to emails. I'm going to be on time. And when I go to a networking event, I'm going to dress professional and I'm going to greet people. I'm not going to be standing against the wall on my phone or not engaging. So what is your brand? And we all have our own personal brands. And that is, I say classy and sassy. So classy is always keeping it classy. You're in a business environment, but the sassy you have to keep. See, the sassy is your almost like your superpower in a sense, or that's the gift God gave you to say, okay, you're different. Some people are more low key and some people, that's your spice, that's that, like, I'm not telling you the ingredients of my feijoada. I'm Portuguese. We make a nice, for the Brazilians out there in Portuguese, feijoada, Cape Verdeans. I'm not going to give you the spice that I put. I'll give you a little bit, but the spice is yours. That's your individual sassiness. So don't lose that. So keep it classy, but always keep it sassy. And that's your brand. Because sometimes we create our personal brand and we make it too robotic and we cannot show for that because that's not. So I just want to be very clear. Make sure your brand is truly who you are and what you want people to say about you when you're not in the room, but also making sure you keep that sassiness because that's your individual gift that God gave you, that you just stand out and no one can duplicate it, right?
In my first book, I call it the unique quality identifier.
Love that.
It's you. Like you said, no one has that score, that number, that unique quality identifier. It's just you.
Yep.
And once you let it resonate, then it's going to enhance every single time. And the more you get comfortable with who you are and how people are resonating to that, then you're understanding your true value. And then you're entering that room even more confident, right? You're like, oh, wait, this is me.
I want to be anybody else.
How do you become approachable?
People struggle with this, and I completely understand your question. That's why there's coaches to help you in those type of situations. I can give you some pointers, but it's really something that has to be put into practice because you're in an environment where it's business and professional. So what does that look like to you without having to, because I've met people where they're just too upfront or obnoxious, right? Just in your face, so direct. And their approach is really scary, or they also go on and on and on and on, and they don't know how to end the conversation because it's all about them. So people don't want to approach them. So these are just skills that you kind of learn as you continue to even work with a coach or just practice, because networking doesn't happen overnight. It's years. You got to keep showing up and you got to take notes, even how you showed up. What did you do different this time that you connected deeply with others and kind of practice?
What would you recommend are some tips for people who are afraid to network, and some tips that you feel should be the essence of them sharing their brand?
Absolutely. I love this question. It's probably one of my favorite questions. And my answer is always show up scared. When you give yourself permission to be scared, you show up a little different. See, meeting new people is frightening, right? You're shaking hands, you're meeting. Keep showing up despite of the fear, because that's what happens to us. Fear holds us back from doing the things that we want to do. And then just be more yourself, and your personality. Allow yourself to come out in conversations. Sometimes we're too robotic because we are afraid to say the wrong thing. Be you. Again, we're in a professional environment. You know your business better than anybody else. You're looking for opportunities. So show up with your brand. So I would show up scared. It's something that I've always done, no matter what situation I've been. That's why it's like my quote. And I love saying that on stage to women who I speak to. Give yourself permission to say, I already know I'm entering a space that is scary, but I'm going to do it anyway. Even mentally, you're giving yourself permission instead of saying, I'm so scared. Oh my God, what am I? You're building more anxiety. But if you say, something, networking can be scary. And the more you do it, the better you become at it. And the more you show up scared, guess what? You're not going to be scared anymore. And then engage in conversations. Keep practicing. Have some questions that you want to ask. And it could be 4 questions or 3 questions that you want to ask someone to get to know them deeply, and have them written already. So when you get there, you already know it. You're not struggling. So
Mhm.
asking questions, people love that because you're taking interest of them. It's not just about you. And then making sure that you're not kind of just talking too much about you, where maybe a condensed version of your resume. Listen, we're all proud of our achievements
Yes,
that we're doing, but no one wants to hear all about the great things that you're doing right away.
exactly. It's just too much.
It's too much. It turns people off. So more about them, again, leading with service. I use that word service a lot because it helps always when I walk into a room. I'm there to serve and
Mm,
help and get to know people and learn about people instead of making it about, like you said earlier, that lead about me, self-serving. I want to go and get opportunities. So that is the advice that I would give for people that are afraid for networking. And then just be really prepared. If you're
yeah.
afraid to go networking, make sure that you have a plan. Where are you
Mhm,
going? Make sure you have your, 30-second commercial. If you don't have one, make sure you create one because it's very important for
mhm.
entrepreneurs specifically. You have to know what you do and how you can serve. That should come rolling out of your tongue like it's what you do best. And
Yeah.
and like I said, just keep showing up and keep doing it.
So would it be easier for people who are afraid if they want to have that buddy system, bring somebody either that is in their industry or someone who works with them or for them to bring them as like a comfort zone, or does that kind of hold us back in really understanding for ourselves, showing up alone and really jumping in to that networking fear and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to take care of my own. So how would you describe both instances?
Yeah, so I would recommend if someone is really afraid of like going on their own, it's okay to bring someone with you. You have someone in the room that you know versus not
Hmm.
knowing anyone. But then I would at some point say, hey, listen, let's split up a little bit. Let me go
Yeah.
go talk to other people and then we'll kind of meet up later. But you don't want to be with the same person the entire time. Because to me,
Because then that defeats the purpose.
yeah, and then you end up having conversations with that person. You already know them. You're not there for that. You
Yeah.
can go and have happy hour another time. You don't need to do it there. But if that is what you need just to kind of get the anxiety down and lower it a little bit, go in together and maybe
Mhm.
talk to a couple people. But then at some point, just go ahead and do your own thing. I'm all about peeling off the band-aid. Just do it. And then I love going to networking meetings by myself, but a lot of people are not comfortable doing that. And I get
Yeah.
it. So,
It takes practice. It just takes some time. I mean, for some people, they're okay and comfortable with it. For me, it took a little bit of time. And then I just decided one day, let me just peel the
yeah.
thing off and that's it. I'm just gonna jump in and do it. And it felt fine. I was scared, but I did it. And the more I did it, like you said, it takes practice,
Yeah.
right? And so how would you approach the networking events that have the groups of cliques of people, right? That's the word that's used, the cliques of people who are really in deep conversation and you really want to try to connect, but you don't know how to interrupt that flow.
Okay, so I want to just add this before I forget, kind of piggybacking on the last question. So when it comes to different organizations like networking events that you're invited to, or you're going because you know your ideal clients are there, the first time you go, you're going to be scared. You're going to meet people. Next time, you're going to go again, but you're going to see the 2 or 3 people that you kind of connect with.
Mm,
So I encourage people to don't go to so many different events. Pick like top 3 maybe that you
mhm,
think that will benefit you in terms of like people that are in your industry. Make sure, if you're in property management or you're in real estate, like where are you going? Is your ideal clients there? And then keep going to the same ones versus going to so many different ones. Then every time you walk in, it's new people. You don't know them. So
mhm,
let's
mhm.
build those relationships slowly and then at some point get on a committee, serve, right? What can I do to get on a committee and getting involved and get part of that like organization? So I just wanted to throw that out there because that really helps get the fear away to just engage in one or two or three organizations that you could keep showing up and meeting people before they know, like, hey, what's going on? You already know them, you feel comfortable, and you keep getting better and better. And then your question was,
when you enter the networking event and there are clicks, should you interrupt? How do you interrupt? Or should you just get away from them because they're in a clique?
No, see, get right in there. And people that are in cliques, believe it or not, they welcome new people. We're all in our heads. So kind of like, you don't have to interrupt in a sense of like if they're in the middle of a conversation, but kind of just make your way in there and smile and they'll let you in. And then if there's maybe a pause somewhere, it's like, hello, everyone, and introduce yourself. So I know what you're talking about. That happens all the time. And there's other situations where people walk in or talking to like 2 or 3 people and they're just looking at one person. So make sure you're in a group setting and you're kind of introducing yourself and you have your 30-second commercial going. Make sure you look around everyone that's in that space to make sure that they feel special and they're part of that conversation. Sometimes we get nervous and we just look at that one person who may said, come on in here, and you feel comfortable with them. Make sure you're looking at everyone, include them in the conversation, because that third person there or the fifth person there could be your biggest customer. You just don't know, right?
And one thing that I've been doing, because like you, I've become a connector. I know a few people, and then I know of new people that are coming in, right? And that have expressed what they want to do. And so when I see them at an event, I know what they're looking for, and then I connect them like, hey, how are you? Let me come here. Let me introduce you to someone. And then I'll introduce them. I'll be there and then I'll be like, I made this connection. Let me step away so they really can have that conversation. And I feel really great about that. And even if you're in a group setting, really identifying from the other side, right? Not the person entering in by themselves and trying to interrupt a group setting, but from the other side, someone who's in a group setting, being conscious of someone who's by themselves.
Correct.
And maybe welcoming them, or maybe just saying, oh, hold on, I'll be right back, and bringing them over to the group. And so, there's two sides to it, to be conscious.
We make it complicated, right? And as we're talking it out, I'm sure some of the listeners and you're kind of just unpacking and saying, wow, this networking thing is not that hard, because it really isn't. It's number one, showing up even if you're scared, right? And meeting people and having conversations and not being afraid to go say hello to someone, like you said, that's kind of just by themselves, and bringing them over, because guess what, at one point you were by yourself.
Yeah. So what is the biggest takeaway from today's conversation we had, which is a lot of different things that you hope the listeners take away?
Well, it's going to be, again, network is so broad, right? Networking is so broad. So it's going to be a couple of things. So I would say I'm big into showing up scared, because I know most people don't go to networking events because they're afraid. So just keep showing up. I think that the other takeaway would be more of, just give yourself some grace when it comes to networking, and know that it takes time, especially for people that are new. It's going to take time to get good at it and to be able to just walk up to someone and have a conversation. And then the other thing is more about take your time, quality over quantity. This whole thing about networking where just go out and meet so many people, we have to change that, because that is where the anxiety comes in. Because if you walk into a room and you think you have to talk to everyone, that's a lot of work, So just walk in a room and just, even if you walk away with 3 or 4 people, just like we did here, and I'm here, and then kind of nurture those accounts and kind of like have that follow up, connect with them, Zoom, coffee, and get to know them, go back, meet another 3 or 4. That to me is what networking is about. It's not about meeting so many people and not having the time to do anything with anyone. Because think about it, if you've met 15 people and you're thinking to follow up all 15 and then have lunch and coffee with all 15, who has that much time? You got to run your business.
So you got to run your, exactly.
Who has time? I mean, your months, you're going to be done. You're going to be able to run. So look at it differently of like, oh, I'm going to a networking event. My goal is to meet 3 or 4 people. And that's it. So I think that is the biggest takeaway. It's slow down, quality conversations, high level conversations, connecting, leading with service, not
Mm.
being about you.
Love it. Thank you so much. And so, is there something we didn't discuss that you feel important? And plus, please add, why did you create the Power of Networking book? And tell me
Yeah.
just why they should get it.
Thank you. So, yeah, so I think the power of networking needed to be written. And for the same reason we're having conversations, a lot of people struggle with networking and don't see that it's important. A lot of entrepreneurs like us
Mhm.
who run their business, we get too caught up in our business and we forget that we have to plant seeds for so many reasons. Like I mentioned earlier, building your tribe, building a group of people that can be resources and support for your business. Networking is so much bigger than just going
Right.
to an event. I wrote it because I kept coming across people that just struggled. Really was like three types of people. One was terrified of networking. They're just like the
Mhm.
word networking just scare them. The second group of people, they love networking, but they couldn't convert their contacts into customers. They couldn't
Mhm.
convert that because it was quantity over quality. So they just
Right.
kept getting business cards. And the third were entrepreneurs who really enjoy networking. However, they just didn't have time to do it. They didn't make it a priority.
Mm.
So those types of three people I kept running across. I'm like, I need to write a book to make sure entrepreneurs who are busy with their business at least take time and put it in their calendar once or twice a week to just go and connect with your ideal clients, go to an organization that you belong to. A lot of times we pay for membership and we don't
Mm.
attend. That's not good
Yes.
either. Make sure what gets planned gets done. So put it in your calendar. Make sure that you prioritize networking because it's going to help you with your business. It's really going to help you scale. It's going to help you brand. It's going to get yourself out there, your personal brand, your company brand. It does so much for one's career. I know that it has changed my life. It has really got me to where I'm at today. Without networking and making it a priority, I wouldn't be where I'm at.
And really quick, tell me a little bit about your marketing business.
Sure. We are a full service marketing firm, boutique here in South Florida. We service all over the country, but we help businesses connect their brand with their mission.
Mm.
We help them with lead generation, digital marketing. We help them with their social media, just rebranding, website design, redesign. So really, that whole brand story. A lot of times, businesses don't even know their brand. They're just kind of
Mhm.
in place. We kind of bring everything in harmony and make sure that when somebody sees your logo, they know what you do, how you can help them. So that's what we do. We do also PR. We have different client base from
Mhm.
different industries, commercial real estate, construction, fashion, beauty. And we're unique the way we do it. We're all about making sure that we customize a plan that is for that customer and their brand. So it's not
Mm.
one size fits all. We really dig in a little deep to find out how we can help you and really get you to the other side of where you want to get
Awesome.
to. Yeah.
So, how can they find you and how can they get your book?
Absolutely. So, as the networking queen herself, she is always on social media. So you can find me at Alexandra Silva Labarr. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. My book is on Amazon, so you can go there and find me there. And if you're ever looking for a keynote speaker or speaker, alexandrasilvalabarr.com. You can book me there or just reach out to me on social media. I was at keynote speaker for Boss organization. That was amazing. So got to meet
Mhm.
some dynamic women. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. So yeah, always looking to meet more people.
Networking can be separated into like a million conversations and it can
Absolutely.
extend from there. So,
And we
thank you.
need this, right? Connections. The new worlds we have here, people are all on this digital space, which I love, run a business doing that. But this human connection, we have to keep it alive. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very important. Thank you so much for sharing, for being here. For those who are listening, connect with her. Her information and links will be in the show notes. So make sure to connect with her. Thank you so much, Alex. And I'm sure that we will be connecting soon again. But yes, I am so thankful for Alex being here. Please look into her book because it is amazing. And I am sure that you're going to love it. And take away from here, but also take away some great advice and tips from the Power of Networking book. And of course, if you need marketing, make sure to reach out to her. So, with that said, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Inspired by Jacqueline. Make sure to subscribe, to comment and share, download, and stay tuned for the next episode of Inspired by Jacqueline. Take care.